let's talk a little bit about your channel, right? Let's talk about Chai Chats. So now one of the things that you talked about, right, is um, you you cover. So let's talk. What are some of the topics you cover, right? And it of those topics, were there any that had a huge impact on you?
Okay. Yeah, so I guess for folks that are tuning in, I'll just give a bit of an overview of what Chai Chats is and what we do. But
Okay.
essentially, on Chai Chats, it's a storytelling platform where we bring in Dharmic youth from around the world, not just folks who are connected with Sanatan Dharma, but of course, the Dharmic cultures of Buddhism, Sikhism, and Jainism. And so we bring in people on the show, I guess you could call it, where we have interviews and conversations, trying to, again, learn about what their journey was like growing up in connecting with their culture, but also bring in or even emphasize, the regional cultures from the area that they come from. Because uh, supplementing, having, the philosophical knowledge of building your values, of building how you connect and respect others and so on. Just with that is the important piece of celebrating your traditions, of holding on to them and practicing them and understanding what they are and, the knowledge that is associated with them, to create sort of this sort of full 360 circle of what it means to come from a certain community and live by the values and traditions that that culture um, represents. So we also do a lot of cultural learning. So we'll have, if you scroll to the page, um, for every person that comes on, where they come from. For example, in Maharashtra or Gujarat, then we'll do a full feature of a series of posts where not only we have interviews with them, but then we also showcase the traditions, the handicrafts, the arts, the performances, theater, um, any sort of custom or tradition that's associated with that region that they come from in India or even abroad. Even for folks in the United States, folks who also come from other religious backgrounds but find their way in Hinduism or the Dharmic cultures. So it's not just centered in the Indic regions, but it's, again, because Dharma doesn't necessarily have, it's not tied down to a specific region. It has its origins in a specific region, but it's a universal understanding. And so we bring in guests, and of course, as I mentioned earlier, how I have conversations with mom with some chai, we have stories with one another with a cup of warm masala chai. And so I guess, and then to your second part of the question, you know, I guess you're asking, what is it that I've learned? Um, and it's such an interesting thing because with every single conversation, there's always I'm constantly learning. It's a tool for me as much as it is for other people to learn. It's the exact same for myself because, again, I only had sort of a limited, I don't want to say limited, but I only had one particular view of my parents and where they come from, right? But, having guests from Gujarat, from, Bangladesh, from Maharashtra, from Kerala, Karnataka, um, it's I wouldn't have ever truly, like, unless maybe if I happened to meet certain people along my journey of just day-to-day life, I wouldn't have otherwise have those kinds of conversations with people. So I think just in general, learning about their own customs and traditions. In my household, we never, for example, necessarily like practiced or celebrated Navratri. But then when I had a conversation with Dhruv from Gujarat, he explained also, what it means to do Garba, what Garba means, dancing in a circle around, Devi Shakti, and how that represents sort of the womb and then the dance of life, and how that energy just expands outwards. So I'm constantly learning when doing chai chat. So I'm equally blessed as other folks that take something away as well.
Oh, that's awesome. Would you say that that is something that makes your channel a little bit unique? The fact that you try to sort of focus on the diversity of Sanatana Dharma and you try to let people speak about their specific customs.
Yes, I do think so. Um, because, you know, like there are an infinite number of stories and of unique experiences from people, right? And I hope that what people get out of coming to Chai Chats is not only learning about the different cultures, but also, as you pointed out, understanding that Dharma is infinite. And as we know, Dharma is the balance of Prakriti and sustaining Prakriti and continuing Prakriti. And so how I see it is every person that comes on, every story is also one such manifestation of Prakriti. And so that's how I definitely view Chai Chats in a way where, it's an expression of everyone, of this universal mosaic, of this universal fabric, and each person has their own piece that adds to this fabric. I think another key, I wouldn't say difference, but I think just something, central to Chai Chats is also, sharing the stories of everyday people. That person who's, studying in university, who, apart from, going to concerts, but, if they're a Bharatanatyam dancer, bringing them onto the show. Or if, someone else is an artist and I see, a beautiful painting behind you, someone who connects with their culture through art, having them on the show. So I think just bringing in the everyday person and showing people that, what we see online, we see media, fronts, and we see celebrities, and, in the West, we tend to think, or we tend to draw inspiration from people that have status, from people that are recognized. But I think on Chai Chats, I also want people to feel that you also don't need to have reached any certain level of quote unquote status to feel appreciated and ultimately to feel seen. And so I think that central or a core tenet for our organization is just bringing in the everyday person and showcasing their cultural expression and journey.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.